You're listening to the Smash Bros. Cast, Episode 2. I'm your host, N64 Josh, and in this episode, it's going to be all about the history of Smash 64. So, let's jump into this thing here. Developed by HAL Laboratories under the direction of Masahiro Sakurai. Originally planned to be released in Japan under the name Nintendo All-Star Great Fray Smash Brothers. That is a mouthful. Kind of glad we didn't end up with that name. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm pretty happy about the fact that it's not called that. Because would that be NASGFSB for short? And then add Melee and Brawl? I don't know. Nintendo All-Star Great Fray Smash Brothers. So there you go. Release date for Smash 64 was January 21st, 1999 in Japan. April 26th, 1999 for the US. And Europe was November 19th, 1999. Sakurai began development for a fighting game called Dragon King: The Fighting Game. After showing Satoru Iwata, he was on board. He was ready to, he was liking what he saw. So, knowing that fighting games didn't sell very well, Sakurai used Nintendo characters without Nintendo's permission. This is basically a weekend project for him, you know? So he snagged Mario, Samus, Donkey Kong, and Fox. Before presenting the game to Nintendo's higher-ups, he made sure to present a balanced game, and Nintendo liked it. Nintendo approved it, and we got Smash 64. Marketing this game was like nothing I had ever seen. The first commercial featured a live-action Pikachu, Yoshi, Mario, and Donkey Kong, basically like mascots skipping through the field. That quickly turned into an all-out mascot brawl. Sprinkled throughout the commercial was gameplay showcasing the characters fighting, and honestly, I could not believe my eyes. I could not believe that I was seeing Mario and Donkey Kong basically in a fist fight, and I didn't even really know what to think. I've always been a huge fan of fighting games, but was kind of wondering what is this? What is this? The final game had 12 playable characters. 4 needed to be unlocked. You had Mario, of course, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, Pikachu, Luigi, Captain Falcon, Ness, and Jigglypuff. Smash had a single-player adventure that would put you against other combatants, training, break the targets, board the platforms. Were mini games that you could play single player. Multiplayer is really where this game shined. 4 players going head to head led to hours and hours of fun. Smash 64 sold 5 million copies worldwide, about 3 million in the US, about 2 million in Japan. It was the 64's 5th best-selling game and received an above-average score from most critics and news outlets. Beating your friends down with Nintendo characters in multiplayer combined with simple controls were the main factors in the decent scores. Nintendo Power gave Smash a 7.7 out of 10. IGN, 8.5 out of 10. And that year it got Editor's Choice for Best Fighting Game. GameSpot gave it a 7.5, and Metacritic, Smash 64, is at a 79 out of 100. There are a couple of Easter eggs in the game. The 8 characters that are unlocked from the beginning of the game are in order from when each of their original games released. Samus and Ness, their only appearance on the 64, sadly, was in Smash. It's also the only time we got to see them 3D. up until much later. We'd get to see Samus first person, and we'd also get to see kind of third person 2D that not a lot of people liked. Other M, we're looking at you. We're looking at you. So I do want to mention my sources for this. I spent some time on the Smash Bros. Wiki. Also watching the Game Historian. He has 2 parts of the history of Smash. I do have links in the show notes. n64josh.com/SBC2. So I'm just going to talk about Smash 64 and just kind of my experience with it. It wasn't a game that I played a lot of. I didn't get to spend a lot of time playing Smash 64. I never owned it. It was always played basically at friend's house, or I would play. We had some like friends of the family whose smaller kids were always playing it, so I would sit down and play with them. Every now and again, I get to play with maybe some people my age, but it wasn't all that often. It wasn't like, I mean, back on the 64, the staples for me were like Mario Kart, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, a lot of the wrestling games like WCW versus NWO. And it wasn't because I didn't like Smash. It's just I never ended up picking it up. And in 1999, I'm going to age myself a little bit here, or date myself. I was 18, and I was actually planning on getting married in September, and I basically had to pay for my wedding, so I didn't have a lot of extra income back in the Smash 64 days. So it was one of those games. Once I got so hooked on first-person shooters, I just never went back and picked it up. And actually, I still don't own the actual 64 cart to this day, which actually, like, part of me dies inside when I say that, because it really should be in my collection. It's kind of a staple 64 title that should be there. So one of these days, very soon, it will happen. It will happen. But I mean, I did spend some time with the game. I have played it since. I even popped it in and played a little bit today, just to kind of refresh my memory. And man, oh man, I basically have the Wii Virtual Console version, and if you're watching this live, that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing playing right now. It's a little rough, even going from the 3DS, and especially going from the Wii U. Graphically, it's something else. There's a lot of sharp polygons, but I mean, for the time, it was one of those things that was just fun. It was just fun. It was just pure chaos. The problem is, I think, that's how I've played Smash ever since then, right? Like, this is just a button masher. Just go to town. Can't even see where you're at on screen. Don't worry about it. There's tons of items. Like, just hope for the best. Basically, that's how I looked at Smash, and especially Smash 64. It was just hope for the best, see what happens. Who can get the hammer? The hammer seemed to be the weapon of choice, and so I started the adventure mode today just to go back and see what it was like. I'd forgotten that there's levels where you're literally just taking on an entire tribe of Yoshis, and all different colored Yoshis are attacking you 3 at a time, and they're basically like a 1 to 2 hit kill. Nothing super difficult, but you get the hammer and you just clean house. And that's how I ended up finishing that round. I believe I got lucky in a box that I had thrown actually had 2 hammers in it. So it was just one right after the other, and, got through that level pretty quick. But what's interesting about that game is, even I played it on hard, like the first 3 little missions that you do, they weren't too bad. And then you hit the wall, and I had to fight Mario and Luigi, and the Mario I fought against looked like Wario because I was playing as Mario. It was like a whole different game all of a sudden. They were on a whole different level. and it was crazy. I got destroyed relatively quick. I think they teamed me up with Jigglypuff, which didn't I think it was Jigglypuff. It didn't go so well. So, the game is fun. It's fun to go back and check this game out. It was played competitively, which I don't think was ever really the idea behind any of these the first two Smash games when they came out. But if it's one of those things, it's like Jurassic Park, right? Life will find a way. And there was a small competitive scene for Smash 64 that eventually evolved into Melee, which we'll get into in the next episode, just looking at the history of that. And I've literally spent over 4 hours watching a documentary on Melee that we'll talk about in the next episode. Crazy community. And I'm really hoping to get the chance to interview some of the original community members that really got this thing going, that, some of them played 64 competitively and then they moved to Melee. It seemed like a handful of them just stuck with 64 and that was just their jam. And, the funny thing is I've got a couple 64 sitting next to me right now that were recently given to me. All of the controllers, the sticks just fall to the side because they're so worn out. And I'm sure games like Smash definitely played a part in wearing out plenty of 64 controllers. So this episode, I'm not going to go into what I'm practicing right now, because we're going to basically do a block of 6 episodes. Episode 1, we have episode 0, just kind of the overview. Episode 1 was our Smash news. Episode 2, which is this one, we got Smash 64. 3 is going to be Smash Melee. 4 will be Brawl, everyone's favorite. And then 5 will be the Wii U and the 3DS. And then from that point forward, we're going to just talk about a lot of different subjects. But basically within this first week, I want to have all 6 of these episodes out for you guys to listen to get the history of these games, kind of the development about it. We are going to talk a lot about the competitive scene in the next episode with Melee, because that's still going strong today, which is just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And it's still a really, really fun game to watch. So thank you guys for listening. If you enjoy the music, the intro music, that's a metal version of the Melee theme by Rich AADEB on YouTube. If you want to check out his full video where he rocks on the guitar, go to n64josh.com/metalmelee. I do have a couple sponsors, audibletrial.com/SBC. You can get yourself a free book from Audible. I recommend Ready Player One or Console Wars, both great books. That's audibletrial.com/SBC for Smash Bros. Cast. The chair I'm sitting in is from opseat.com. Comfortable, affordable gaming chairs. You can use coupon code N64Josh to save $10 at checkout. The show notes for this episode can be found at n64josh.com/SBC2. I want to invite you to join the Discord. Join the community. n64josh.com/Discord will take you right. That's an invite right to the Discord. Come hang out. Come talk Smash. Add some people on your Wii U or your 3DS. Let's get some games together. It's a good time. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at N64Josh. I also stream on a fairly regular basis on Twitch. That's at N64Josh. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Snapchat, and Vero. It's all N64Josh. For those of you that don't know me that well, I am also the host of the Nintendo Powercast, which is a twice-weekly podcast covering Nintendo news that you can find on iTunes and wherever podcasts are available. And if you're enjoying this show, If you could rate it 5 stars on iTunes, I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. The goal is to get into new and noteworthy and really get this thing to take off. So keep practicing the stuff from episode 1, the defensive stuff. Let me know how you're doing in these show notes in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know how things are going. I have in the description on YouTube the same stuff that I'm practicing. If you want to practice along with me, remember the goal of this show is to improve as a Smash player, and so we're just taking baby steps to get there. Thank you guys again for listening, and we'll see you in episode 3 talking about Melee. I can't wait. See you then.